Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of You Can Disney Too, your video cast where we discuss real issues that arise while planning your Walt Disney vacation on a budget. We strive to say it all and keep it as realistic as possible to fit your budget. I'll be your host, Asia, and today we'll be discussing crowds. So pull up a seat and let's get on with the magic. Okay, so today's episode, which is for October 21st, 2014, is titled, Of Course It's Crowded. Duh, it's Disney. And basically, what we're going to be discussing is about the crowd stigma and how that discourages a lot of newcomers and people who have been longtime Disney guests from coming to the parks. And never let naysayers or cynics tell you that it is too crowded for you to enjoy yourself at the Magic Kingdom. That is the biggest falsehood. So let's talk numbers, go straight into it. First of all, on an average at Walt Disney World, there can be anywhere from 47,000 to about 75,000 people. The max for the parks is 100,000. But usually they close the parking lot, and basically only people who are coming by train or bus or whatnot who don't need to park their car or on site themselves are allowed into the parks at that point. So I like to say about 75,000. But usually I know a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, in the last few years it's so crowded, wait lines are crazy, it's not worth it, especially with that price tag. Let me tell you right now, it's worth it. You might be waiting in line, and yes, it's not the most pleasant experience known to man, but you're indulging in this wonderful, magical experience. That's what you have to think about. Just the same way if you went to Cancun and you dealt with extreme heat during some time of the year or whatnot, it's the same thing with Disney. One of the drawbacks are the crowds, but don't let that become, a problem. Learn to embrace it, and that's what we're going to do and talk about. So, who are the crowds? Okay, the crowds, a large portion of them, especially in the last couple years, have been season holders. They're wonderful people, and they're major Disney enthusiasts like ourselves. But what did not anticipate when they really started pushing about 4 to 5 years ago, pushing people to buy the season passes either online or via like in stores, was that these people would be coming to Disney more regularly than people had in the past. In the history, basically, since they've been having these season passes, people who were season pass holders only went maybe max 5, maybe 10 times a year. Now you're having new season holders who are going 5 to 6 times a week. Easy. That's a big portion of the crowd. Another portion of the crowd are the people who go for the specialty events. People who go for Dapper Days. People who go for Biker Day, for Golf Day, for all these little niche days that they have now, which is a wonderful thing. It makes the crowd more colorful. But it does also increase the lines and the wait time. I'm trying to think of another group. During the vacation era, our college students, our spring breakers, people complain about, I guess, the time of year when Spain, Portugal, Brazil, and Europe are on vacation. And people complain about, oh, it's so crowded with college students and everything. So that's another time of the year. That's another big group of crowds. These people all come during a certain time of year, so you need to be conscious of that. It takes a little bit of reading, but the more you inform yourself, the less, especially if you're someone who really, it really gets under your skin to deal with the crowds. You just, you can't have it, maybe because of health problems, or maybe because you have children that are too anxious to actually sit in line, or you just don't want to be bothered. You have to research. That's a part of it. Let's see. Like I said, Disney was not prepared. Disney, when they really were pushing these season passes, they did not anticipate trends of people coming into the parks and staying at the parks so regularly. It has become a home away from home for some people. It is the place where some people go have lunch. I mean, this is what the parks have become. They are making strides towards addressing these new type of guests, but I don't think they're quite there yet. But we have to give them some time. We have to be patient. Yes, let's talk about the off season. I know you read and you listen to podcasts and you listen to videos, and what do they tell you? Well, if you want to avoid the lines, book during the off season. You want to hear something? There is no off season anymore. It doesn't exist. It's a wonderful, imaginative concept that died about 2 to 3 years ago. It just doesn't. Now, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna come back, but for the time being, between holidays, special events, movie premieres, just regular seasonal people like the spring breakers, like the cheerleader season, the holidays, regular just when the weather's good. The weather affects the crowds. The better weather, the less rain, the less cloudy days, the more people are inept to go to the parks. So I'm going to say this as someone who is advising you: don't center your entire vacation around trying to get tickets and everything during the off season. You're going to frustrate yourself. You're going to frustrate people that are trying to go with you, family, friends, or whatnot. Because a lot of the times when it's off season, it's really inconvenient for most people's lives if you're working and whatnot, at college and whatnot. Don't kill yourself if you're just at the beginning of off season or you're still at the little teetering end of, peak season. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. So just have to deal with that. And there's ways around this, and Disney has been working on it. So don't stress out. Okay, so let's talk about FastPass Plus. We all know what FastPasses were. If you don't, fastpasses were basically these little tickets that we used to get. You take your base ticket or the ticket for admission, and you went to a kiosk, and they gave you a little voucher that said, okay, you come back in an hour or 2-3 hours, and you can ride this ride at this time. You don't have to wait in the line. You just go straight in. Now, this has been transformed in January 2014. They introduced us, especially at the Magic Kingdom, to FastPass Plus. FastPass Plus is basically now a system that is very similar, but there are a few changes. First of all, it is now being really pushed and being used more to the benefit of the people who stay on site. Now, disclaimer, that does not mean that people who are off site can't get it. They just don't get all the perks. Example, they don't get to book in advance. I think for people who book their vacation on site at the resorts, it's 180 days. They can start booking their Fast Pass arrangement, which rides they want to take, what times they want to do it. Fast Pass Plus is just about pre-planning. It's about being able to structurize your vacation so you can do an optimal amount of attractions and to try to hit everything in a timely manner. Now, what I'm going to say, when you're staying off-site, you can also have FastPass Plus. You take your base ticket and you would go to a kiosk that are near the bigger or the more popular rides. There's a little kiosk just like there was when we had regular FastPass, except for now there's a limitation. For regular guests, it's only 3 Fast Pass at a park per day. If I remember this correctly, after you use the 3, so let's say you did 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, after you finish all 3 of those, then it renews again and you can start with another 3 at that park. And I think the same is for people with the Fast Pass Plus who's staying on site. Now, one of the bad drawbacks of that, it does cause overcrowding in the Fast Pass line. The Fast Pass line is now not that fast. It is actually now the medium fast line. There are reports of people who are going past Fast Pass in the regular line because there's such a draw to try to skip those lines. Think it through. Look at the lines. Don't just sit there and be so rigid. You have to learn how to be flexible. Also, I've heard a lot, one of the drawbacks is that it's unfair for people who are staying off-site and for newcomers who don't know. There's a lot of people who are first-timers or just haven't been to the parks in a long time and don't know the system. And one thing that I've definitely heard, and I think is a little unfair, is that they have to learn this new system when they get to the park. They don't know what they're doing. They're trying to figure it out. And it's really rigid now. It's not like the way when it's the fast pass with the little paper. Now it's, hey, you missed it or you didn't know, you're out of luck. That's one thing I'm really not liking. It's about but it's just one of those things. Not to mention now we're hearing reports of fast pass plus being applied to dinners. Recently there was information that was released about, and I've kept hearing it on the groups and the forums and whatnot, is that FastPass Plus is being used as an exclusivity tool for on-site guests. These on-site guests have access to a restaurant, Be Our Guest, which is the Belle restaurant, the Beauty and the Beast restaurant, where they were the only ones who could go to lunch, and I think they were seated first or they had better times for the dinner. Right now, while they're doing this testing, now this is not forever, this is for their testing, but I was hearing about how they were denying people who were just walk-ups and wanted to come to the restaurant. They weren't even allowed to wait in line. This has become an exclusive type of thing. I don't like it. You should not. It's a restaurant. You should not. There's already reservations for the restaurant. That's one thing. Okay, I get that. It's one of the most popular restaurants. However, you mean to tell me that I have to be in the know to eat at a restaurant at Walt Disney? That's crazy. And that has to do with crowds. That has to do with the overcrowding at these places. It's just one of those things you definitely want to consider. Your FastPass Plus, whether you're staying at the resort or not, it needs to be your best friend. You need to read up on it. You need to know what's going on. You need to understand it. Okay, let's talk about Magic My Way. So with Magic My Way, it's basically your base ticket with options. So park hopper, no expiration. That's another thing. This is another one of those that causes crowds. Water park and other stuff. They're trying to give people incentives and have all these little extra things at the Walt Disney Park to kind of lessen the crowds, but apparently it's not really working. People not going to Disney Quest, really. Let's be realistic. It's lovely. If your kid's a real Minecraft game app kind of developing kid or whatnot, I would say take them to Disney Quest. They'll have a great time. But most parents, they just skip it. The water park, that's a big hit during the summer, but during the cooler time of the year, not so much. But basically, going into what I was saying about Magic My Way, basically, it only is available if you stay on site. It gives you a lot of discounts, and it gives you, yet again, so even over FastPass people, if you have Magic My Way, it bumps you up. Think of this as a tier system. So, last episode I was talking about 3 T's. This is the same way this goes. Magic My Way, first priority, whether it's platinum or whatever the package is, then FastPass people, then regular walk-on, just here for the day or maybe for 2 days. Yes, Disneyland is really becoming about reservation. That is their system for trying to alleviate crowds. This is their thought process and what they think is going to actually help. We don't know if it's going to work or not. It's too early to tell. But at least they're making strides to try to alleviate. They are recognizing the problem. They are hearing people's cries. They are hearing about their kids. So this is happening. Okay, so let's go over the rides. And this is going to be really quick because I'm trying to just finish this up. Okay, so at Animal Kingdom, the rides that you definitely want to get Fast Pass. Kali River Rapids, which is about 20 minutes. Expedition Everest, which can be really low and be like 10 minutes, and then it could be like 35 out the blue. So don't take a chance. Put it on your list without a question. And Dinosaur. Dinosaur is also a really big hit. So, try to book those in advance. Now for Epcot. Okay, if you have young children who love Elsa and Anna and Frozen, go book that meet and greet. That's your priority. Knock it out early. Just do it. Because that wait time, I think at the Epcot park, it's about 55 minutes. Not as bad as at the Magic Kingdom. But that's an hour. I don't know about you, but I don't have an hour to sit in line to meet Anna and Elsa. I love her. But we don't have to let that go. So, yeah, that's a no. So other rides at Epcot, definitely you want to book for Soaring. It's about 55 minutes. So definitely book for that. Test Track 60 minutes. Quasi slow ride, really slow queue for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah. And then anything with Nemo. So Talking to Crush, or I think there's a submarine ride. You want to book for that too. So all of those should be your fast passes. But if it were me, if it comes to, your Anna and Elsa, do your Anna and Elsa, do Soarin' and Test Track. You can worry about Crush later. It's not gonna kill you. But those three you definitely do. Okay, at the Hollywood parks, let's see. Star Tours, why? Because Star Wars has become very big. Now with the new installation being filmed and underway and under production, it has really kind of picked back up with fanfare. So you definitely want to, take advantage of all the pictures and everything in that. But, book ahead because we're looking at about 35 minutes, give or take, maybe even 45, I'm hearing, for Star Tours. Because I'm hearing people are staying behind in the queues, want to take pictures, all kind of stuff. Toy Story Mania, it's just a big hit. It's a wonderful ride. It's imaginative. It's interactive. A lot of young people love this ride. They go and they play competitively. They go and ride competitively over and over and over. We're looking at 75 minutes. Yeah, you might want to, plan accordingly. Okay. Rock and Roller Coaster always a big hit. Anything that's a roller coaster is going to be a big hit. So 30 minutes, booking ahead, You could also do the Tower of Terror, if so you choose. I don't ever think that's a line that's so crazy, because a lot of people who get in line, they start to hear the screams and they walk out, so don't really let it scare you as much. Okay, so last one at the Magic Kingdom, Elsa. Elsa again. Okay, Frozen, Elsa, princesses meet all the princesses, but especially Frozen, yet again, 85 minutes. Say it with me, ladies and gentlemen. 85 minutes. That's crazy. That's an hour and a half. So, if the little ones just have to meet them, fast pass. Fast pass first, knock them out, go meet them, take all the pictures, do the memory maker, the whole shebang. Okay. The Seven Dwarfs train ride, because it's new and it's very popular. 55 minutes, so you definitely want to 55 to an hour. I would even say like 70 minutes, give or take. Definitely get a fast pass for that one. Then you could just pick between these three. You could either do Big Thunder Mountain, which had a in Disneyland had a renovation. I don't think they had a renovation at the Walt Disney recently. I think their renovation was 2 years ago. You might want to get one for that. And then also at the Magic Kingdom, I would recommend Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear acts like Toy Story Mania. It's kind of got that same premise and that same crowd. Not as bad because it's not as new, but about 45 minutes. Plan accordingly. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I need to cover? No, I don't think that's it. I think that's it. So here goes my little tips to help you while you guys are dealing with the crowds, while you're in the lines. Disney is about theming and about the land. Pull out that camera. Get a little, app on your phone. They have them on your phones where it's like a treasure finding app where you find all this little knick-knack paddywhacks around the park in the theming and the queues. Play it with your family. Okay, we're looking for a clock and we're looking for the skull of blah 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 and we're looking for Tarzan's shoe. And when you're on these rides and waiting in these queues, look for these items. Engage with the theme. Just explore it and talk about it. Think about the places where you are. Just listen to the sounds. When you go to Disney, it's a full-on immersed experience. Everything is meticulously put there, and so they want you to experience, to immerse yourself as best as possible. So allow that to happen. Don't be so disgruntled from looking at all these wonderful things they put out there to stimulate the senses. Okay, don't let a crowd deter you, because especially this is like Space Mountain, the Space Mountain trick. The Space Mountain trick is, especially at Disneyland, is you look at the line and you're like, Jesus, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And then you get in there and it's pretty fast. It's not that bad. So don't let the crowds deter you. Just grind through it. It's worth it. Trust me. And last but not least is, my advice is to be social. People there are not strangers. They're fans of Disney too. Especially in line, I have met some of the best people, had some of the best memories, laughing and joking and talking to people in the line. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself, to, if you hear a joke, to laugh. Are we ready for this? High fives. That's what it's all about. It's all about connecting. And that's what makes the magic of Disney World and Disneyland, the Magic Kingdoms in general, so wonderful. People being able to relate over things that we love. and being able to do that in a happy, wonderful, magical place. So, with that, I'm going to be signing off. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them below. And be sure to like and subscribe and for more episodes. And I think that's it. So, don't be afraid of the crowds. And you guys have a magical day. Bye.